It's the Subway NFL postgame show, and it started on the second play of the game. Kevin Williams, a defensive tackle, picked off Trent Dilfer, took it back the other way for a touchdown, and the Vikings rolled from there, 27-7, their fourth consecutive win. By the way, Pat Williams, another defensive, first time in NFL history, two defensive tackles on the same team in the same game, had an interception. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, NFL.com's Pat Kerwin,
Hey, Jason.
CBS Sports' Charlie Casserly. We don't need no stinking Adrian Peterson. We can win without him. 14 carries, 3 yards. But, Charlie, this team has now won 4 games in a row, and Minnesota controls its own destiny as far as making the playoffs. What has been the biggest turnaround over these last 4 games?
Well, I think if you look at the season, you're looking at the quarterback, Javarius Jackson. What I saw today was a guy that was playing with confidence, a guy that when that back foot would hit, the ball would come out. He was accurate. The ball was a tight spiral. The guy looked sharp today. You can see him getting better.
You can, and talking to Brad Childress about he's developing the playbook with the guy, opening up another page each week. It started a month ago with let's throw some deep balls, let's loosen these safeties up for the running game, and lo and behold, he's connecting on those deep balls. Last week it was a series of slant routes, goes 6 for 6. Today what I saw him do is he set his feet on a 3-step drop, like Charlie said, for the slant route, and they covered it. Now you see the mechanics starting to develop. Reset his feet and look to the other side, find the second read on the opposite side. Those are big steps. And then 25 passes without a sack. Yep. The guy has the talent to avoid and move around the pocket.
And that's what Charlie and I were looking at when we talked about this game. When we were looking at this game, was that every time there's pressure on him, he's outside the pocket, he's running, he's getting the first down, he's using his feet, but he's being a lot smarter than he was the other part of the year. By the way, Charlie, you weren't here when we talked about this earlier in the week, but Pat said it's the best slant ball he's ever seen. Javarius Jackson, the best slant he's ever seen.
He's got great arm strength.
The other parts of the Vikings right now, and I know they were playing a bad offense in San Francisco, and they were playing a quarterback in Sean Hill, who, this may be his 6th year in the NFL, but before today had thrown 8 passes or so. So forget that. But this defense, when you look at the stats, everyone knows they're a rush defense is fantastic. A rush defense is fantastic. But Charlie, this pass defense has gotten better. Statistically, they'll be at the bottom of the league because of what happened the first 10 weeks. But the last 4 or 5 weeks, much better.
Well, they have improved, and that's a credit there. But I think the key to this team going forward is going to be Javarius Jackson's improvement, but the running game. You saw it's a two-headed monster. Adrian Peterson shut down today. What happens? Chester Taylor, 84 yards and a touchdown. So you got a good running game. The quarterback's getting better. Your defensive front is solid. And, if you get to the playoffs now, you get Ray Edwards back off the suspension.
And that's the defensive end who was suspended. Now, you look at this team, when you talk playoffs, let's hit it on the mark here. You've got Chicago at home, then Washington at home, and then you go to Denver. All 3 teams, after Week 14, still have losing records. Is Minnesota a playoff team, Pat?
I think they are. I think they've got the quarterbacks developing nicely. How far they go is a whole other story, but I think because they control their destiny, because there's some enthusiasm, you've got a lot of young first- and second-year players that are listening to the coach, feel like they have a game plan, and if you go and overplay Adrian Peterson, you got to deal with Chester. The other thing is he distributed the ball in the passing game. 7 different receivers today. And that, to me, it's the same that happened to Chris Sims. You're willing to throw the deep ball, and you're going to do that enough in a game, you're going to loosen people up. The run game will stay alive all year.
Charlie, playoffs?
Yeah, I think they will. I like them because they're at home when they play the Redskins, and I think that'll be the game that'll decide the playoffs for them.
All right, so if they make the playoffs, especially if they win out, they will go from a team that was 3-6 to 10-6. And that is a heck of a turnaround for Brad Childress' squad up there in Minnesota. For more on this game or any other in Week 14, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. Pat Kerwin, Charlie Casserly, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.